Byron's Childe Harold, the poem that created the Byronic Hero. Romantic Literature Explained. Hello and welcome to the discourse. Lord Byron's Childe Harold's Pilgrimage is a seminal romantic narrative poem that catapulted him to fame upon its publication. The first two cantos appeared in 1812, prompting Byron to famously remark, "I awoke one morning and found myself famous." The remaining cantos, third in 1816 and fourth in 1818, further solidified his literary reputation. Originally titled Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, a Romaunt, the poem blends travelogue, autobiography, and philosophical reflection. The term child in Childe Harold's Pilgrimage is an archaic medieval title for a young nobleman awaiting knighthood, signaling Harold's aristocratic yet restless nature. Byron uses it ironically. While the title suggests chivalric heroism, Harold is disillusioned, morally ambiguous, and detached from traditional virtues. The word evokes a romanticized past, contrasting with the protagonist's modern existential angst and reinforcing his role as a proto-Byronic hero. Its antiquated flavor also aligns with the poem's blend of medievalism and romantic individualism. The earliest draft of Lord Byron's seminal poem was titled Childe Byron's Pilgrimage, a telling detail that reveals its deeply personal origins. Byron was the archaic spelling of the Byron family name, directly connecting the protagonist to the poet himself. This early version underscores how closely Harold's disillusionment and wanderlust mirrored Byron's own experiences during his European travels from 1809 to 1811. While Byron later revised the title to Childe Harold's Pilgrimage, adopting a more medieval, universalized name, the shift merely thinly veiled the poem's confessional core. Readers and critics quickly recognized Harold as a stand-in for Byron, cementing the archetype of the Byronic hero, a brooding, charismatic figure shaped by the poet's own psyche. Byron dedicated the poem to Lady Charlotte Harley, the 11-year-old daughter of the Earl of Oxford, using the pseudonym Ianthe. This dedication symbolizes idealized youth and innocence, contrasting with Harold's world weariness. The poem is deeply autobiographical, mirroring Byron's travels through Europe and his personal struggles with exile, melancholy, and societal disillusionment. Its protagonist, Harold, embodies the Byronic hero, a brooding, charismatic wanderer who rejects conventional morality. Key themes include alienation and disillusionment. Harold's detachment from society reflects Byron's own sense of isolation. Another important theme is nature as solace. Wild landscapes, the Alps, Greek ruins offer spiritual refuge. The poem also discusses the transience of power and meditations on fallen empires, particularly Greece under Ottoman rule. Structure and style. Childe Harold's Pilgrimage stands as a monumental long narrative poem that bridges the gap between neoclassical formalism and romantic individualism. The work's grand scale, spanning 4 cantos and 4,565 lines, follows the tradition of extended narrative poetry favored by neoclassical writers, though Byron infuses it with distinctly romantic themes. The first two cantos, published in 1812, contain 792 and 668 lines respectively, introducing readers to Byron's melancholic pilgrim. A significant hiatus followed before Canto III appeared in 1816 with 1018 lines, reflecting Byron's matured perspective during his European exile. The final canto, published in 1818, is the most expensive at 1087 lines, serving as the philosophical culmination of Harold's journey. The narrative perspective evolves significantly throughout the work, beginning with the traditional third-person omniscient narration focused on Harold's travels, but gradually giving way to Byron's own first-person voice in later cantos. This gradual merging of poet and protagonist reinforces the autobiographical nature of the poem while demonstrating Byron's innovative approach to poetic persona. Byron frequently interrupts the narrative flow with digressions on historical events, political issues, and philosophical reflections, adding depth and complexity to the poem. The use of Spenserian stanzas with their precisely measured 8 iambic pentameter lines, followed by an Alexandrine ABABB CBCC rhyme scheme, demonstrates Byron's engagement with poetic tradition. This rigid formal structure, borrowed from Edmund Spenser's The Faerie Queene, itself a Renaissance work that neoclassical poets admired, provides an orderly framework that contrasts with the poem's turbulent emotional content, a tension characteristic of late 18th century transitional works. Yet, Byron ultimately transcends these influences, using the formal discipline as a vessel for romantic rebellion rather than as an end in itself. The result is a hybrid work, a grand narrative poem that pays homage to neoclassical structure while pioneering the confessional intensity that would define Romanticism. This duality makes Childe Harold's Pilgrimage a fascinating case study in literary transition, where the polish of Pope meets the passion of Wordsworth. Summary of Childe Harold's Pilgrimage. Byron's Childe Harold's Pilgrimage opens with a revealing preface that serves both as an authorial defense and an artistic manifesto. While insisting the poem should not be read as strictly autobiographical, Byron simultaneously justifies his protagonist's unchivalrous behavior despite Harold's status as a knightly candidate. This contradiction between artistic distance and personal investment establishes the poem's central tension. The narrative proper begins with Tuianthe, the lyrical prelude where Byron invokes his muse Lady Charlotte Harley to inspire his depiction of Harold's travels, blending personal dedication with poetic convention. Canto I, 1812. The poem introduces Childe Harold, a disillusioned young aristocrat who flees England to escape his decadent past and seek meaning abroad. Beginning in Portugal, Byron contrasts the country's natural beauty with its social decay under British influence, originally including sharper critiques that were later suppressed. Harold then travels through Spain, where Byron vividly depicts the Peninsular War's brutality, including the heroic defense of Zaragoza. The canto establishes Harold as the prototype of the Byronic hero, world-weary, emotionally complex, and alienated from society. Canto II. Harold journeys through Albania and Greece, regions under Ottoman rule. Byron merges travelogue with political commentary, lamenting Greece's lost glory while celebrating its landscapes and people. Memorable episodes include Harold's meeting with the Albanian ruler Ali Pasha and reflections on the Parthenon's plundered marbles, a direct critique of Lord Elgin. The canto deepens themes of cultural decay and the transience of empires, with Byron increasingly intruding as a narrator to voice his Philhellenism. Canto III, published in 1816. Written after Byron's exile, this canto marks a tonal shift. Harold, now barely distinguishable from Byron himself, wanders through Waterloo, the Rhine Valley, and the Swiss Alps. The Battle of Waterloo prompts meditations on Napoleon's fall and war's fertility, earthquake of the moral world. In Switzerland, encounters with sublime landscapes, particularly at Lake Geneva and the Jungfrau, inspire philosophical soliloquies on nature, creativity, and mortality. The canto introduces autobiographical elements like Byron's friendship with Percy Bysshe Shelley and his forbidden love for his half-sister Augusta. Canto IV. Set entirely in Italy, this climactic canto abandons Harold's pretense, becoming Byron's direct poetic testament. Celebrating Rome's ruins and Renaissance art, Byron reflects on cyclical history and artistic immortality through figures like Petrarch, Tasso, and Michelangelo. The famous ocean soliloquy, Roll on Thou Deep and Dark Blue Ocean, Roll, encapsulates the poem's themes, humanity's insignificance versus nature's eternity, and freedom as an existential ideal. The work concludes not with resolution, but with Byron's defiant embrace of restless wandering as a way of life. The Byronic Hero and its literary legacy. Childe Harold's characterization established the quintessential Byronic hero, a brooding, intellectually superior, and emotionally turbulent figure who rejects societal norms while wrestling with inner demons. This archetype, defined by its moral ambiguity, passionate intensity, and self-destructive tendencies, became one of Romanticism's most enduring contributions to literature. Byron's own persona became inseparable from his creation, blurring the lines between author and character in a way that captivated 19th century readers. The Byronic hero's influence permeated Victorian literature, particularly in the works of Bronte sisters, who were profoundly inspired by Byron's writings. Emily Bronte's Heathcliff, Wuthering Heights, embodies the archetype's darkest iteration, a vengeful, socially marginalized outsider whose all-consuming passions defy moral conventions. Similarly, Charlotte Bronte's Edward Rochester, Jane Eyre, reflects the Byronic mold as a tormented aristocrat haunted by past transgressions, yet capable of profound love. These characters, like Harold, are simultaneously charismatic and flawed, eliciting both sympathy and unease. Beyond the Brontes, the Byronic hero shaped countless other literary figures, from Alexandre Dumas' vengeful Edmond Dantes, the Count of Monte Cristo, to later, more psychologically nuanced antiheroes in modern fiction. The archetype's enduring appeal lies in its rebellious individualism, a quality that continues to resonate in contemporary depictions of morally complex protagonists. Byron's creation not only redefined romantic literature but also laid the foundation for the modern anti-hero, ensuring Harold's legacy far beyond the pages of his pilgrimage. So this is it for today. We will continue to discuss the history of English literature. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.